When we picture soldiers of the American Revolution, the image is usually the same. Young men with muskets, coats worn thin by marching, faces set with determination. But history rarely tells us about the women who slipped into that world of bayonets and battle drums, determined to prove that courage has no gender. That woman, in this case, was Deborah Sampson of Massachusetts, one of the only women who is known to have disguised herself as a man and fought as a soldier in the Continental Army. Deborah was born in Plimpton, Massachusetts in 1760. She was the oldest of 7 children, and her childhood was not easy. Her father, said to be a sailor, disappeared. Some records claim he died at sea, others say he just abandoned the family. With her mother unable to support all the children, Deborah was sent into indentured servitude at the age of 10. So for years, she worked in households across Massachusetts, doing hard labor in fields and kitchens, learning resilience from necessity. She grew up tall, over 5'7", unusually tall for a woman of her day, and strong from years of farm work. She also had a restless independence. After her servitude ended at age 18, she supported herself as a teacher and a weaver. Yet the Revolutionary War was raging, and Deborah longed to do more than listen to battle news secondhand. In 1782, with the war entering its final phase, Deborah made her daring decision. Binding her chest and adopting men's clothing, she enlisted under the alias Robert Shirtliff. She claimed to be a young man with no family, eager to fight. The recruiters saw only another able-bodied soldier. Deborah joined the 4th Massachusetts Regiment, assigned to the Light Infantry Company, a unit chosen for speed and toughness. Light infantry were often deployed for dangerous raids, scouting missions, and skirmishes ahead of the main army, hardly the place for someone hoping to avoid notice. But as Robert, Deborah marched, drilled, and fought beside men who never guessed her secret. She survived hunger, exhaustion, and the endless marches that defined Revolutionary service. She took part in raids along the Hudson River and in New York's No Man's Land, where Patriot and Loyalist forces clashed in a brutal back-and-forth struggle. In one fight, Deborah received a gash on her forehead from a sword. She also suffered a musket ball wound to her thigh. Terrified of discovery if she was sent to the regimental surgeon, she treated herself. According to later accounts, she removed one ball herself with a penknife and needle, though another remained lodged in her leg for the rest of her life. It was an act of sheer grit and secrecy, suffering unimaginable pain to preserve her disguise. For a year and a half, Deborah's double life held, but in 1783, with the war winding down, she fell ill, with fever while stationed in Philadelphia. Unable to hide her sickness, she was taken to a hospital, where a doctor discovered her identity. Now, the revelation could have ended in disgrace. Desertion, fraud, even humiliation at the hands of fellow soldiers were all possible. But instead, Deborah's commanding officers treated her with respect. They recognized her bravery and service, and they granted her an honorable discharge. In October 1783, she walked away from the army with no medals or fanfare, just the quiet knowledge that she had fought for the independence of her country. After her service, Deborah returned to Massachusetts, where she married Benjamin Gannett, a farmer, and they raised 3 children and later adopted a 4th. But her story didn't fade into obscurity. In 1797, she began giving public lectures about her time as a soldier, something no other woman of her era dared to do. Dressed in a soldier's uniform, she demonstrated military drills and told audiences of her adventures, blending patriotism with showmanship. Her life was not without struggle. The wounds she sustained in battle plagued her, and supporting a household on a farmer's income, that was never easy. Yet Deborah fought again, this time for recognition. She petitioned the state of Massachusetts for compensation, and in 1792 she was awarded a pension payment roughly equal to a year's pay. It was acknowledging her service. Decades later, she also received a federal pension, or about $4 a month, thanks in part to the efforts of Paul Revere, who wrote to Congress on her behalf, calling her service extraordinary. Deborah Sampson died in 1827 at the age of 66. Today, She's remembered as a true revolutionary trailblazer, the first officially recognized woman to serve as an American soldier. Statues, schools, and even a highway in Massachusetts now bear her name. Her life reminds us that the Revolution was not just fought in predictable ways or by predictable people. It was shaped by ordinary men and women who chose extraordinary paths. For Deborah, it meant breaking every expectation of her era to stand on equal ground with her fellow soldiers. As she later said, she believed she could support herself better in the character of a soldier than as a female. A declaration of determination, defiance, and courage. Deborah Sampson's story is one of disguise and revelation, but at its heart, it's about identity and bravery. She proved that women of the Revolution were not confined to spinning wheels and kitchen fires. They were, at times, on the battlefield itself. And in doing so, she carved out a place in history that still inspires us today. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel so more people can discover it too.